He wanted to talk about assassination. I refused, because planning someone's death is considered conspiracy, and I have no interest in going to prison. I like my freedom. I like being able to do what I want, when I want. He was insistent, but I was adamant. So he let it drop. Or at least I thought he did. I like games, especially games of strategy and planning. I guess that's why I like chess. I can take my time planning my strategy, get all the pieces into place, and then when I finally attack, it's over. Role-playing games are especially interesting, and I'm equally at ease playing the game master, where I manage the game and devise every intricate detail, or a character who must find his way through the game to its conclusion. I always thought I was smarter than him, and even proved it many times over. Which is why he wanted my help to plan an assassination, or so I thought. Looking back now, I can't be sure if he was actually smarter than me and just enjoyed my company, or if he just happened upon a smart plan to use my knowledge and abilities. Either way, it doesn't really matter. He accomplished his objectives, and I was none the wiser until after the fact. It started out very simply. He proposed a new role-playing game about spies. The idea was that the game master would design a scenario in which a prize was sought and the character would find a way to get it. We took turns for several years, drawing up scenarios and playing them through to conclusion. Nice thing about games, if you lose, you can always start over and play again until you finally figured it out. Several of the games were like that, and I must say I quite enjoyed when it took him multiple attempts to get through one of my scenarios. I rarely had to start over, and I'm sure he enjoyed it just as much when I did, but he seemed even more to enjoy it when I solved one of his scenarios. I always thought that was a bit odd until now. Last week we reached the conclusion of his latest scenario, and I was a bit surprised when he said he would have to hold off playing my next one until he returned from an extended business trip. He took business trips every few weeks, but they usually only lasted a day or two. This one was to last for a couple weeks. Taking it in stride, I wished him luck and looked forward to completing the new scenario I was working on, as it would be a real challenge. Then I saw on the news that the president was assassinated by a single man who worked his way into the president's bedchamber. The picture of the assassin was none other than my friend. Personally, I thought that was impossible, and out of curiosity looked up maps of the White House and read over the known security protocols. While tracing the path of the intruder, I felt a vague sense of familiarity with the floor plan but couldn't put my finger on it. Then it hit me, and I remembered one of his scenarios in which I had to breach an industrial complex. I got out the game scenario from the file and laid the map on the table. It was very familiar. Then I overlaid the White House onto the industrial complex and got quite the surprise. The industrial complex was in fact the White House and surrounding area. My clever friend had simply added architectural design features to the map of the White House and surrounding area to make it look like a large industrial building complex. Doors were added to alleys to make them look like closets, and electrical outlets were added to streets to make them look like hallways, and so on. I realized that since my friend could not figure out how to accomplish his objective, he had tricked me into solving the puzzle for him by presenting it as a game. It made me wonder just how far this complicity extended, so I dug out his other files and looked them over. I saw nothing out of the ordinary, until I happened to match the game dates with his business trips taken after each game. I also did a news search with these dates for reference. That's when I saw that most of his scenarios was a different crime in which multiple institutions were robbed and remained unsolved. But what about the remainder, which were not crime scenes? As it turns out, my friend was quite clever. After much puzzling, I found that the remaining scenarios are actually a variety of prisons where someone doing what he did could expect to go. While the scenarios called for getting into these places, one simply had to work the scenario in reverse to effect an escape. It took me quite a few days to puzzle this all out. Weeks, in fact. And all that time I was watching as he was making his way through the courts. It wasn't until a few moments ago that I realized the escape plans, and as I sit here reflecting, I hear a knock at my door. Getting up to answer it, I am unsurprised to find my friend standing there.